Okay, fine. So in the last class, we were looking at the internal combustion engines, and maybe in the process, so we dipped into some of the performance parameters of IC engine. Okay, so one we started up with the mechanical efficiency. Then, what do you mean by indicated power? Then what do you mean by brake power? What is specific power output? Volumetric efficiency, and we ended up with thermal efficiency. So we'll move further. See, if you take any IC engines, so I should be able to properly measure what is the air uh, that is going into your system or your engine. Okay, so usually we need to measure this air consumption. So that is measurement of air consumption. Measurements of air consumption by the IC engine. So what we have is actually, maybe if you look into what we have in our lab actually, so there is something called as orifice chamber method. That's the thing. So what we have is, we will be having a box. Okay, so we will be having a box actually. So this box will have an orifice. So this box will have an orifice. This box will have an orifice, and we'll try to measure the pressure difference between, see, we'll try to connect it to a manometer. Between these 2 points, we'll connect it to an U-tube manometer. U-tube manometer, where water is fed. So this is water U-tube manometer. Okay, where the working fluid will be a water. Okay, so the difference in this particular thing is taken as the head of air. Okay, so this system, if you look at it, this is a standard method of treating. So we'll connect it to a box. There is a box will be there. In that box, there is an orifice. So that is called as a metering device. Okay, so the consumption of the air is measured through this orifice, and the delta P across this orifice is taken through. So usually the type of orifice what we use is a sharp edged orifice or something. Don't worry, it's a round sharp edged orifice which is used with a CD. We take around CD of this orifice roughly around, we take around 0.6 to 0.65, and it's connected to a U-tube manometer, and we'll try to calculate this head of it actually. Okay, this is called as head of water. Head of water. So we'll try to take the HW, which is the head of water, which is an indication of how much of water is, how much of the air is flowing. Then we'll try to equate it. That is, the head of air and density of air is equal to head of water into density of water. Then what we are going to get from here actually, I am going to get the head of air, which is equal to head of water into density of water divided by rho of water. This will be in terms of meters of air. So much of meters head of meters of air. Okay. Then if I want to find at any given point, what is the velocity of the air passing through it? Velocity of the air passing through it at any given point. If I want to find, V is given by square root of 2G HA, where HA is the head of air. Okay, so at any given point, if you want to find the volume of the air, so what is the volume of the air that is flowing through this particular orifice or your this thing? The volume of air flowing through the orifice. Flowing through the orifice. So this is given by volume of air. That is actually QA or VA. Okay, volume of air. So this is given by your area of the orifice. Okay, into the velocity with which. So this is the velocity with which the fluid is flowing, multiplied by the CD of the orifice, given by your 2GHA. Okay, so this is the formula. So this is the formula which I am going to use to calculate this. So this I am going to get in terms of meter cube per second. So that is the amount of discharge or what is the volume. So maybe one dash we put actually. So few books they call it as QA or volume of air or discharge of the air. So if I divide it by 60, I am getting in terms of meter cube per minute. Okay, so this is nothing but the volume of the air. How I am going to calculate the volume of the air. Then the next point is measurement of fuel consumption. Measurement of the fuel consumption. So measurement of fuel consumption. So what we will be having actually, we will be having what is called as a device called as a burette. Okay, so burette actually, so it will be of a particular capacity. So burette may be of some 200 cc or 300 cc, doesn't matter, 300 or 400 cc there is connected between. So this particular burette is connected between the fuel tank and the engine. So what will happen actually? So this burette will show what is the amount of fuel that is there. So what we will do actually, the fuel gets filled up in this particular burette actually. Suppose this is a burette, something like this. So this is a burette. So this is connected to the fuel tank actually. This is connected to the fuel tank on one side, and other side it is connected to the engine. Okay, it has some graduations. So it has some graduations. What we try to do, we try to fill it actually. We try to fill it to this particular point. Okay. Then we are going to use a stopwatch. We are going to use a stopwatch, and we'll try to using the stopwatch actually. So using stopwatch. So this is, we'll try to note down what is the amount of fuel consumed per unit time. Amount of fuel consumed per given time, which may be 10 seconds, which may be, what we'll do is actually we'll, so once we switch on this particular thing, connection to the engine, so we'll start the stopwatch. So then we'll take how many of cc of the fuel has run down, 20 cc or 10 cc or 30 cc for 10 seconds. Okay, fuel consumption, maybe what is the amount of fuel that is consumed per unit time. Or if you want in terms of maybe the specific gravity, or in terms of hour also I can do it. So if I want to at any given point fuel consumption per hour, so what we try to do actually, fuel consumption maybe per hour or something, fuel consumption maybe in kg per hour something. So it's given by so much of cc of fuel, okay, into its specific gravity. So specific gravity of petrol or something, specific gravity divided by, so I have to convert this cc to meter cube, so it will be 1000, okay, into the time. So I'll be getting in terms of so much of kg per hour or whatever, kg per second. I can keep it in kg per hour or kg per second depending upon the time what we are taking. Whether you want to convert the time to hour or you want to keep it in terms of second, doesn't matter. So if you want to keep it in seconds, this time should be in seconds actually. So fuel consumption in kg per second or fuel consumption in kg per hour. So depending upon what is the amount of fuel that is consumed into specific gravity divided by the 1000. So to convert the cc to this particular thing into the time taken in the denominator. So this is how you can calculate the fuel consumptions. Okay, there is one more thing called as specific fuel consumption. Okay, this is called actually, this is based on brake power. So BSFC, brake specific fuel consumption is what it is called as. So what is it actually? It is nothing but the ratio of mass of fuel consumed, that is m dot f, divided by what is the power that is produced. So this is nothing but kg per kilowatt, either second or kilowatt hour. Because mass of fuel is in kg per hour, this brake power is in this thing. So the unit of this BSFC, which is usually we try to calculate brake specific fuel consumption, this will be in kg per kilowatt hour. If suppose this mass of fuel is in kg per hour, okay, this will be the unit. So we'll try to calculate the, if this brake specific fuel consumption is less, what does it mean? That so the mass of fuel consumed depending upon the brake power. So I'm trying to produce more brake power for a given. So I'm trying to consume less mass, less fuel, and I'm trying to produce more power. So this BSFC should be as less as possible. It can't be very, very low, but this particular thing should be less actually. Okay, so this is called as measurement of fuel consumption. Okay, see, whenever you have this particular fuel, see, fuel is burnt in the AC engine, what will happen? A part of it is when the fuel is burnt in an IC engine, part of it gets converted to brake power, so which will come as a shaft power. Then what happens to the remaining thing? So remaining thing may go as a waste. Okay, the remaining thing will go as a waste. Say part of it will go to the exhaust. So exhaust gases will take the good amount of part of the energy. Then the remaining thing will be maybe if I'm using a CI engine, so I may be using cooling water to cool the engine head actually. If I know the mass of water that is pumped into that cooling head, so difference in that particular temperature, so some amount of heat is taken away by the cooling water. So some amount of heat is taken away by the exhaust gases. Okay, and then you have what is called as a calorimeter, which tries to measure it actually. So this calorimeter will try to measure what is the amount of heat that is taken away or the exhaust gases. Okay, how it actually, it works on the principle of, this calorimeter will work on the principle of heat exchanger. It's a calorimeter is an heat exchanger, the heat balance. Okay, how this particular thing will work actually? So I am going to circulate the water around the calorimeter, and we'll try to see what is the amount of gases temperature that's going out. So depending upon your gas temperature and depending upon your atmospheric temperature. So from this, I'll be able to calculate what is the amount of heat that is taken away by these gases or exhaust gases. So exhaust gases, what is the heat that is taken away? So I can find it using this particular thing. And all these things, why I'm discussing it actually, so brake power or thermal efficiency, all those things, all are related to what is called as heat balance, which is very, very important. Okay, heat balance, or we call it as heat balance sheet. What is the heat balance sheet? We are trying to show the energy that is produced, and how this energy is utilized, and what is the energy that is out. So what is this actually? A heat balance sheet is an account of heat supplied. I can call it as a heat balance sheet is an account of heat supplied and heat utilized. Okay, heat utilized by the IC engine. How much I am trying to supply and how much I am going to utilize it. See, what is the heat supplied? How the heat? See, the heat balance is generally done on maybe usually the heat balance is done on either hour basis or second basis. The heat balance is done on hour basis or on the second basis. Okay, an hour basis or second basis. If you want, you can have the minute basis also, doesn't matter. Minute basis also. Either hour, second, or this thing, any of the your time factor. Okay, heat supply to the engine, how it is given. So the first quantity is the heat supplied to the engine. Okay, so heat supplied to the given, so let me call it as some Q supplied or QS is given by mass of fuel into its calorific value. Okay, so this supply mass of fuel can be, see, this mass of fuel, as I told, this can be in kg per second or kg per minute or kg per hour. So that's how on those basis I can have hour basis, second basis or minute basis. Okay, then calorific value. So this is your calorific value in kilojoules per kg. So what type of calorific value it is actually? This is your lower calorific value. If you were very specific with respect to your combustion of the fuel, this is LCV. Okay. Now once you have supplied the heat, how it is utilized? Okay, how it is utilized. So if I try to look at, the first thing is actually heat converted as brake power. Heat equivalent to BP, we call it as brake power. Equivalent or converted to brake power. Okay, so brake power means, so I use the formula, that is 2 pi nt by 60. So this will be in kilojoules per second or kilowatts or whatever it may be, kilojoules per minute, whatever the way I can put it. Okay, then I told that, for example, if there is a calorimeter, and using that I am trying to find the exhaust gases. I am trying to find what is the heat that is taken away by the exhaust gases. So heat taken away by the exhaust gases. Exhaust gases. Okay, so this is given by Q exhaust gas actually. So Qg or something, mass of gases. What is this mass of gas? I will tell what is it actually. Into Cp of this particular gases into the temperature of the exhaust gases at the exit minus your T ambient, this thing. So this can be in kilowatts or kilojoules per minute. So this also kilowatts or kilojoules per minute, whatever it may be, you can keep it. Okay, what is this mass of gases? See, what is the thing which you are supplying to your engine? Mass of gases means I am trying to supply mass of air plus mass of fuel. So the combination or the addition sum of your air and fuel combined together will give the mass of gases or exhaust gases. You don't have any other thing which is coming out of your exhaust gases. You are supplying air fuel mixture if it is an SI engine, or you are supplying air first and then you are supplying fuel in this EI engine. So it is only the addition of mass of air and mass of fuel in case of any kind of an engine. Okay. Now what is the Cp of gases? So Cp of gas is a specific thing. Yeah, tell me.
So what is the in subscript for T in the brackets? So next to T exit.
I'll come to that. I'll come to that. So this is, I'll come to that. Why you're worried? Mass of air. This is mass of fuel. I'll come to that. Don't worry. Mass of fuel. Okay. Then Cp of gas is nothing but specific heat of the gas. Specific heat of the exhaust gas. So usually this will be taken as some 2.07 or 2.1 or 1.5, which will be more than your air. Okay, this will be more than your air actually. Okay, next. What is T gas exist? This is the exhaust gas temperature. Exhaust gas temperature in degrees Celsius. See, usually there will be one thermometer at the exhaust pipe actually. So this using this thermometer will try to measure this particular temperature. It may be 120 degrees or 160 degrees or something. So T infinity is the thing, but your ambient temperature or your atmospheric temperature. Atmospheric temperatures in degrees Celsius. Why this particular thing we have to consider? Because there is should be, see, where you are trying to put your exhaust gases, we are trying to put the exhaust gases is given into the atmosphere. Okay, so that's why we have to take this T infinity ambient temperature. Okay, T ambient temperature, and T gas is the temperature of the exhaust gases or the burnt gases which is coming out of the engine. Okay, which is measured using one of the exhaust gas thermometer. Suppose this is for an SI engine. Okay. Now there is something. See, if I try to say, for example, if 100 kilojoules of heat is supplied and around 40 kilojoules of heat is converted to BP or brake power, 40% is conversion. So around 30% what you get it actually, which may go as some exhaust gases. Still, there will be something which is left out. Okay, which is something which is left out, which may be around 20% or 15%, and those are called as unaccounted heat. So the unaccounted is actually, it's a difference between your heat supplied and how you are going to convert it either to BP or exhaust gases, whatever is that particular. So this particular heat is absorbed by your engine or bearing, or what are the other materials or other instruments, something is there in the part of the engine. Those parts will be absorbing your heat actually. So those things we call it as unaccounted heat. Suppose if I am using a car, maybe a CI engine, okay, I am using a diesel engine. So in that case, what I will have the what is called as heat that is taken away by the cooling water. Okay, heat taken away by the cooling water. So we call that as, if it is in the CI engine, we may be having the heat taken away or carried away by cooling water. Carried away by cooling water. Okay, so in that case, what I need to find, this is heat by cooling water is equal to mass of water. We need to know this mass, because there will be some flow meter which will be clearly showing the what is the flow mass of water that is applied. So here I should not put mass of air and mass of fuel. So I should put mass of water there, and there is a flow meter. From the flow meter, I'll be getting this in kg per second or liters per minute. I have to convert it to kg per second. Okay, then multiplied by Cp of water, which is 4.187, into difference in your water temperature, that is T water exit minus T water inlet. So what is with water enters at what temperature? It's entering at 20 degrees and exiting at 35 degrees. Okay, so there MW, so this unit will be either kilojoules per second, kilowatts, or kilojoules per minute. Okay, radiator, we call it as radiator, no? So heat carried away with the cooling water in a CI engine. This is what we have. So MW is the mass of cooling water. Mass of cooling water. Okay. CPW is nothing but specific heat of water. Specific heat of water in kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin. Then TW exit is the exit water temperature in degree Celsius. Exit water temperature, and TW inlet or in is equal to inlet water temperature. Inlet water temperature. Okay. So once I know this particular thing, I'll be able to calculate the QW or something. So once you have this, we'll try to put the heat balance sheet. Okay, we'll try to put the heat balance sheet. How it is actually, we'll try to put a tabular column and try to see this actually. So that's called as heat balance sheet. Heat, just like your bank statement, this is called as heat balance sheet, which you have to put. Okay, on one side I'll be having all the what is heat supplied, and on other side I'll be having how the heat is. So heat input and how heat is maybe exhausted or how it is utilized actually. So we'll have columns like this. Okay, so we'll have 3 columns on heat supplied and 3 columns on the heat exhaust. Like this. Prepare a tabular column. The tabular column will show what quantity you are trying to calculate. And it has to be stored in terms of percentage, and you have to balance it. Okay. The first thing, what we have actually, heat input per minute. I'm going to show in terms of heat balance sheet in minute basis. In minute basis. Okay, heat input per minute. Okay, so how we are going to supply? So this will be in kilojoules per minute and percentage. Okay, then heat utilization. Heat utilization per minute. This is also unit in kilojoules per minute and percentage. So I'm going to prepare a table something like this. So what will I have in this particular thing here? I will have heat supplied by combustion or burning of the fuel. Burning of the fuel. Say for example, what it is actually, it is Q supplied or QS. So what is it actually? It is 100%. What the percentage I'm trying to supply? That is 100%. Okay. Then what is there on the right hand side? The first quantity is actually heat into BP. Heat converted to brake power. So I may be having something, let me put some number. So QS. So this is actually, it is BP. Okay, suppose if I, this is my QS. So this is your brake power. Okay. So brake power, which may be something around 40 kilowatts or something. So I'll put a value over here. So this may be some 100 kilojoules per minute. Okay, this is the value. So this may be some 45 kilojoules per minute. Okay, what will be the percentage? It will be 45 divided by 100. Okay, what is it? It's 45% of heat supplied. Then Heat carried away by exhaust gases. Heat carried away by exhaust gases. Okay, that is your Qg. So I am getting around some 22. Let me call it as some 22. But the problem, I think, in the problem statement, in the problem given, you have to really calculate that. So just for an example, I am trying to show. What is 22 of 100? It is 22%. Okay. Then if it is a CI engine, okay, if it is a CI engine, so heat carried away by cooling water, carried by cooling water. So which is your QW. So let me call it as, it may be some 20%. Okay. So 20 kilojoules, it is 20. So now if I try to add everything, how much it is? 40 plus 45 plus 22 plus 20. Okay, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. It is 97%. Where is the 3%? 3% is the unaccounted heat. Okay. Unaccounted heat. Unaccounted heat. What it is actually? This is equal to Q supplied minus your brake power plus heat carried away by exhaust gas plus heat taken away by the cooling water. So this is around, this is Q unaccounted, U1. So this is around 3 kilojoules. This is 3%. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 1. So if I try to add everything, it has to balance. It is nothing but your balance sheet. Okay, it's just like your balance sheet. It has to balance. So LHS and RHS. Okay, if I add everything, so this should come to, anyhow, this is 100%. This is your heat supplied. This is your total on left hand side. So to the right hand side, how we are going to utilize this is a total. If you add everything, this has to come to 100 and this has to come to 100%. If you add up everything, this number should be equal to this number, which is 100. Okay, which is 100 or something what I have taken. So this number what I have taken, just for example, I have taken it as 100. Okay, this number and this number should match. Maybe in the decimal. This is a simple tabulation. We call it as, this is a tabulation of the heat balance for a particular load. Usually, this heat balance sheet is done for a full load condition. Majority of the time, this is done for a full load condition. Okay, for part load condition, we won't do, but this is done for a full load condition.